Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today, the Nets are already breaking records and they haven't even played a game together. Another Jimmy High Roller video. I'm gonna drop a like for Jimmy. Make sure y'all do the same for me. Try to get this video to over 1,000 likes yet again. Almost at 40,000 subscribers. Appreciate y'all boys. And let's check it out. I haven't really talked about, well, I talked about this topic on my my main channel, but I haven't talked about the Nets getting James Harden, all that stuff on this channel. And let's see what Jimmy has to say. They're breaking records already. Let's see what records that is.
Well, after weeks of waiting around for the inevitable, it has finally happened. James Harden has been traded from the Houston Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets. Somehow the Nets managed to keep Kyrie in the process, wherever he's at. But in exchange for their superstar acquisition, the Nets pulled a move right out of the Clippers' book by giving away the future of their organization. A blossoming Karis LeVert is gone, and the best young rim protector in the league in Jared Allen is gone as well. Oh, and the Cavs now have 37 centers on their roster. As predictable as this trade was, it's still a blockbuster move by the Brooklyn Nets. It was pretty obvious that Harden...
It was after the Lakers scraped him and he had that press conference. I don't know if you guys saw the post-game interview or whatever. You could just tell the trade was gonna happen. Like he said, the Cavs got a lot of centers now. I heard they're trying to get rid of Drummond, but I don't know who's going to take that on. And then the Nets losing, a lot of, losing Jared Allen, I think is a big factor because honestly, I think he was their best rim protector. I know they have DeAndre Jordan, but I think at this point in his career, I think Jared Allen was performing better. And they lost all the picks and LeVert, but I feel like a lot of times NBA people and NBA fans, they overvalue draft picks. Like if you got a chance to get an MVP caliber player, you got to make it happen, and that's what they did. They did the right thing, of course.
Harden wanted out of Houston, from ignoring league protocol to make his daily visits to the strip club, to playing uninspiring basketball with his teammates that can't stand him, to showing up to a game looking like he somehow put on 72 pounds in 72 hours.
He really did.
James Harden's time in Houston was clearly coming to an end weeks ago. So now that the Nets have their hands on three of the most prolific offensive weapons in the league, how much success will they have this season? This trade was clearly an all-in type of deal. Brooklyn is completely set on winning a championship within the next couple of seasons. But is this even a realistic goal? And what can we expect from this Nets team? Well, I'd like to begin by showing y'all a chart of the highest scoring.
Sometimes you just need...
I think we could say that these are the three best ISO players in the NBA, and they're all on the same team. Right, just in terms of pure isolation, one-on-one scoring ability, if they're not the three best, they're definitely three of the top five. I think you could say they're it's crazy to think about that they're all on the same team.
Trios in modern NBA history. At the bottom, you have the 2006 Wizards, whose big three averaged just over 67 points per game.
So this is highest scoring big threes in NBA history.
The 2020 Blazers make an unexpected appearance on this list at just under 70 points per game. You have the 2011 Heat, the 2015 Thunder, the Run TMC Warriors at 72.5 points per game, and rounding out the top three highest scoring trios in modern NBA history are the 2019 Warriors, the 2020 Rockets, and the 1984 Nuggets starring Kiki Do You Love Me Vandaway. But no trio in modern NBA history has averaged over 76.7 points per game. And then there's the Brooklyn Nets, who after acquiring James
83?
Harden have a big three that combines for an absurd 83 points per game. Now, of course, Harden hasn't played with the Nets yet, and we can all assume that we will see a dip in their production once they have to share the ball.
Okay, so this is only in modern NBA history. Because I was going to say, like, the season where Wilt averaged 50, you're telling me there wasn't two other guys on the team that combined to average 20? Because, 50 plus 20 is 70. They would have been on here. But this is only modern NBA history.
Ball more. But this number only includes Harden's 24.8 points per game he's averaged this season, as opposed to his 30 plus points per game in past seasons. So this number of 83 points per game combined is very realistic. which means this trio is by far the greatest collection of scores on one team the league has ever seen.
Yeah.
And it isn't even close. But if we take a closer look at this list of all-time scoring big threes, it's clear that just putting the ball in the hoop doesn't always lead to success throughout the season. In fact, it rarely does. Out of these 14 teams, only 6 made it past the second round of the playoffs.
Damn.
And only one team actually won the championship that season, and that team was the 2001 Lakers. So let's take a look at this from a different angle.
Okay, so that was Kobe, Shaq. Who was the third, big three, whatever you want to call it. Who was the third leading scorer on that team?
Usage. Because let's be honest, there's only one basketball on the court. And as much as I like to see Kyrie and Harden cook up a meal.
All right, I'm sorry. If you don't care about this, you can fast forward, but I want to know. 2001 Lakers stats. Okay, so Shaq. No, we want the averages. So Shaq averaged 20, or Kobe averaged 20. Okay, Shaq averaged 28.7. Kobe averaged 28.5, and then Derek Fisher averaged 11.5. Shout out to Derek Fisher, man. Shot almost 40% from 3 that season. Good stuff. My bad. I once my brain gets going, I gotta look it up.
In an ISO possession, this type of basketball will not work if they want to contend for a title. Durant, Kyrie, and Harden combined for an average usage of 94.2%. If we look at the top 5 highest point producing big threes in modern NBA history and their usage, there is only one team that even comes close to the potential usage of this Nets team. And to no one's surprise, James Harden was on that team as well.
Yep.
2 of the 3 highest usage big threes in NBA history, and James Harden is featured in both. The Warriors being the only team to even make it to the conference finals out of these 5 teams. Okay, but what if we look strictly at the best big threes of all time? Now, this list is subjective, but in my estimation, these are the best big threes in league history. Now, I'm avoiding adding great duos who had a solid third player, like Shaq, Kobe, and Derek Fisher. LeBron, AD, and honestly, it doesn't even matter. Add anyone you want as the third option. And when we look at these trios, what exactly do they have in common? Well, not much. Many different styles of basketball, different eras, many different all-time greats and champions.
Very different styles, all from different eras. Even just different collections of talent, in terms of like, you have a great post scorer, a great playmaker, you have a great defensive undersized big with a great score, and a great just kind of point forward to like a defensive type of guy that's a big guy but still pushes the ball up. And you got it's just completely different styles of big threes. It's crazy.
Championships won. But the one constant that remains is the role of the third option on any given big three. A role that is not easy to take on, and a role that is not welcomed by many players.
Yep.
We saw Chris Bosh go from a dominant first option on a young Raptors team to a third fiddle behind 2 all-time greats. Robert Parrish could have easily been one of the most dominant centers of his era, but instead took a backseat to Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. James Worthy, similar to Parrish, spent his entire career playing whatever role the Lakers needed him to play instead of joining a less successful team and having all the touches he wanted. We just watched Klay Thompson play world-class off-ball offense in order to get his touches in a system that featured 2 of the best shooters the game has ever seen. And you want to know what all of these players received in return of their sacrifice? Championships, respect, a lasting legacy, and winning basketball. Every single one of these third options could have had a team of their own to call the shots and put up ungodly numbers. But instead, they opted into a much more selfless and rewarding option. This is the key to a successful big three, and it is the only way a star-studded trio will work. We have enough examples of failed experiments to know the other version of this does not work.
Yep.
So my question becomes, who out of these 3 all-time great offensive players is willing to take a back seat? Because no matter how you split it, one of them will have to. I don't see it being Kevin Durant, because although he is probably the most willing, the whole reason why he joined the Nets in the first place is so he can be the...
You can't have Kevin Durant take a step back. He is your best player. It would be it would make the team worse, if that makes, like, the team would never reach its full potential if you ask Kevin Durant to be the one to take a step back. Because he is your best player.
The guy on a championship contending team, and he's just too good to play second fiddle to anyone. And I don't see it being Kyrie or Harden, since their entire game is built around having the basketball in their hands. They are not cut from the same cloth as Klay Thompson or Manu Ginobili or Chris Bosh. To them, it is their world, and we are all just living in it.
Yeah, that's what makes this very interesting is James Harden, highest usage rate in NBA history, has the record for a single season. Kyrie is a guy that is at his best with the ball in his hands and he's going one-on-one. And then Kevin Durant is your best player, so you're not going to want him to take a step back. That's what makes it real interesting. Who is going to be the one? Because someone's going to have to. There's only 48 minutes and there's only one ball. Someone is not going to get as many touches, as many shots as they're used to getting. You say maybe all three of them scale it back a little bit. But again, do you really want Kevin Durant scaling it back? Like, he's your best player. You want KD to just be KD. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real fun to watch. And they're going to, in the regular season, against some bad teams, they are just going to embarrass people because of the amount of talent they have, especially offensively. Come playoffs, that's when weaknesses and chemistry issues and defensive flaws get exposed, which would be the real test for these guys. But just, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be crazy.
And a phrase that I find myself saying more and more often: you cannot just throw a bunch of talent on a team and expect to win a championship. This is not how things work. We just talked about this. In fact, I feel like we always talk about this. And yet, here the Nets are giving up 2 young and rapidly improving players, as well as 4 first-round picks for a player that is looking more and more like the problem with each passing day. Think about what the Rockets organization has done to keep Harden happy. First, they bring in Dwight Howard. Dude hated it and dipped out. Then they build their entire system around Harden. Didn't work, so they blew it all up and got rid of key pieces. Then they bring in Chris Paul. Chris Paul also didn't get along with Harden, so he bounced. So they brought in Russell Westbrook, hoping him and Harden would rekindle their once strong connection. And they also go to extreme small ball to better suit Harden's playstyle because of analytics. That was a mess, so they scrapped everything, got rid of Westbrook, got rid of Capella, traded for John Wall, and signed Boogie Cousins. These all look like moves to improve their team. But in reality, it was all to make their superstar happy and more successful. And what does he do to repay the Rockets organization? The man does this. Pair this toxicity with Kyrie Irving's "the earth is flat, third eye, I'm so woke" nonsense, and you've got possibly the least cohesive, nauseating, but freakishly talented duos we've ever seen. And Kevin Durant. Poor Kevin Durant. So, what do I think about this trade? I think the Nets had a bright future ahead of them with a stockpile of young...
On top of everything he just said, right, all those question marks, add another one he didn't mention. Kyrie left Cleveland because he wanted his own team. Went to Boston. He was the man. Didn't like it. Got pissed. Left. Went to Brooklyn to team up with KD. I'm assuming he knew... unless Kyrie really believes he's better than Kevin Durant. Which, listen, at this point, who knows what Kyrie believes? But I think he probably knows Kevin Durant's a better overall player than him. So he's coming knowing, okay, I wanted my own team, didn't work out. Now I'm going to be the number 2. Now James Harden comes in. Now I'm going to be the number 3? Or am I still going to be the 2? Or do I really think I'm the 1? Or is he just thinking, oh, none of that matters anymore. I don't care about having my own team. Who knows what Kyrie's thinking? That's just another question mark I'm saying that he didn't touch on.
young talent mixed in with 2 megastars. They probably gave up more than they should have for a player that Houston was more than glad to get off their hands. James Harden is an absolute force on the offensive end, but they already had 3 players that could fill a similar role. At the end of the day, the Nets went from contenders to please God, we must win this title because we have officially gone all in on this roster. Regardless, I cannot wait to see how Durant,
it's
Kyrie,
just gonna
and
be
Harden
crazy.
play together once, or shall I say if, Kyrie comes back from his spiritual trip. I mean, short hiatus for personal reasons. So, I'll leave y'all with something interesting. A chart showing the most accomplished trios in the NBA. This chart combines for all major accomplishments, such as championships, MVPs, scoring titles, all-star selections, defensive team selections, pretty much any meaningful accolade, and displays that number as one grand total for each NBA team's best trio. Enjoy. And as always, until next time.
All right. Let's look at this chart. Let me know where you guys think the Nets season finishes, okay? You think, you know, they gonna win the chip, lose in the finals, lose in the conference finals, lose conference semifinal, wherever y'all think they're gonna end up. Comment that down below if you made it this far in the video. But let's check out this chart. So total accolades, the current most accomplished trios in the NBA. They're gonna be way at the top because they have like multiple MVPs. Look at the Clippers. Okay. Steph, Clay, Dre, them dudes. Brooklyn, 42. Damn! It's probably just all LeBron. All right, 4 chips, 4 finals MVPs, 4 regular season MVPs. List goes on and on and on and on. That's pretty crazy. I didn't, yeah. That it? Another really good Jimmy High Roller video, man. If you guys aren't subscribed to him already, you definitely should be. As I said, make sure y'all drop me a like. And like I said, let me know where y'all think Brooklyn ends. Wherever they end, it's gonna be really fun to watch as a basketball fan. So I'm excited. And I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.